In the origin myth of the peoples of this area, Balor Bamer, Balor the One-Eyed, the spirit of darkness, the Celtic Cyclops, led his raiders, the Fomoric, in an attack to wrest control of the country from the Tuatha De Danann, the spirit of light. They landed at Trá na Nistrach, the proposed landing place of this many-headed pipeline, the Hydra of the 21st century. After initial success of the invaders, the forces of light repelled them, led by Lu, the god of wisdom, the Ildánach, the founding god of London and Leo. That is sustainability. Whatever the discourse, underlying reality remains the same. In reality, which is where we live, culture, properly understood, is all. Culture is not merely some stone remains, or even oaken posts or deer traps under or over the bog, though these kind of artifacts are indeed a part of culture, and we have traditionally given some of them semi-mythical status for a time of years or maybe centuries. The local area, a real identifying factor for a community, can and has become an Alice in Wonderland concept and means what I mean it to mean. Sometimes any part of Ireland as a source for cladding, sometimes Béalaw on the Bui, sometimes whatever suits. In our culture, local is real. The entire Dún Chréicheáin area, from the Glenamoy area north to the sea, and much of Dún Chiartáin, from Ceann Trá Chiartáin, now Borna Trá, to Sro Wada Cun, is the local area. From a cultural historical perspective, Glenamoy consists of the area between the two rivers, the Darug, Béal Derig, and the Bui, Béalaw na Bui, between the red and the yellow, the colouring of two different irons, and originally a marsh and barrier to communication. Carrying on with cultural elements, we note that the Celts, which is largely us, in our evolved, enriched present, that the Celts wrote their novels on the landscape. The Dín Seanachas is a highly imaginative, early Irish verse glorification of the place names of Ireland, personalising and deifying much of the landscape. Herein, the importance of the visual and not confined to Hellenistic concepts of balance and beauty, often sadly lacking in planning as in life. To illustrate, Sro Wada Cun is widely slaughtered, as massacred as Mozart Bucht is reputed to be. It is the stream of the dog of the hound, which is quite odd until one realises that it is merely an expression of the totemism that is an element of our basic animism. Further, the Cun part is the Cun, one of the children of Lir, and to go a step further, when the swans lie in the stream, instead of overflying to the bog lakes, they are held to herald a death in the communities along the shore. Do we believe this? Probably no. Do we live as if we believe it? This is a different question. Dún Chiartáin commemorates the steward of Donald Dúalmhaí, who was killed in the process of Táinbó Flihuis, when Queen Maeve's army attacked Eris. On the way, her warrior daughter, Caillte, was killed, and so we have Gleann Calrí. Her army moved through Muing Angáin. Angáin was the herald of Donald Dúalmhaí, to Ra Morgan, where battle was joined, through Dún Domhnain, now Glencastle, over the hill to Ceann Trá Chiartáin, where Donald Dúalmhaí was killed. Dún Domhnain is the fort in the middle of the valley, now surrounded by gravel pits. The name Domhnain recalls also the people of Devon. To the south of that, and just over the quarried ridge, is the fort of Ferdia of Táinbó Cúilgne fame. We do think the Greeks would now be more careful of their own Mycenae than the guardians of our heritage are. Just off Rhine Rua is the wreck of a Dutch man-of-war, apparently from the wars of navigation in the second half of the 17th century. When King Darby Cormac lost 8,000 acres of the then Glenamoy to Cromwell on the basis of the Down Survey, he continued his profitable piracy in Cuan on Inver, aka Broadhaven Bay, until an English admiral was dispatched who stretched his neck on the yardarm. The piracy continued on Captain Moilach, Paddy Bon a Churmic, ship raiding during the famine, etc. The hand-cut sod drains in Rossport, or Shanwachere Leana Vianig in the vernacular, that are a kind that will never be repeated. The drains, like so much of cultural expression, are of a time and equally like so much else, are a testament to the persistence of the human spirit in its determination to succeed and carve out a viable place even on the margins. This series of holdings are also the visible remains of the open field system based on Rossport House and long replaced elsewhere by the enclosures that became modern practice. This will not be repeated. There is a tide in the affairs of man. Rossport House was built by the great-great-grandfather of the lady who was married to Prince Edward Windsor. This man, on Moistir War, the local landlord at the time, was a Quaker and a man of great humanity, at a time when such was in short supply and looked on askance by the laissez-faire establishment of 1846 England. Rossport House overlooks and is 150 metres north of the proposed pipeline, and in between is the salmon pool that draft netted provided the main cash income for the Rossport House family, and, in a sense, for the tenants. Samuel Burns, on Moistir Moor, spoke Irish mainly. The roof timbers are bog deal from the surrounding bogs. He made his contribution to survivability and contributed enormously to the sustainability of the local community. He received the respect that was his due, well earned. Suivnis Shiriro. Culture, however, is how we live, what we do, how we mould our environment to cope with the struggle of living and rearing a family, how we and our sometimes harsh environment come to a compromise that enables both to thrive in a modified, spatial and attitudinal context. Culture is not a suburban luxury. It is the dulu agus inyoch, waft and woof of our existence, allowing for all the elements, good and bad, of our existence, presently, historically, and even evolutionary